Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Super Show. What an action-packed Thursday night we have for you here live on Fight TV. So much to get to. There was no Dynamite last night, but they are saving it for the weekend, as is NXT and WWE with SummerSlam. The Thunderdome is upon us. Impact, Raw, NXT. We are going to get to it all in just a moment when we break down the week in professional wrestling here on the Primetime Super Show. So if you don't know, even though I just told you, then you better call somebody and tell them to join us live, because we're taking your comments live on air and we'll be addressing them on the show along with David Hero and Hurricane Helms. The Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Super Show, presented by Manscaped and Collar and Elbow, starts right now. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Super Show! Damian Nelson here from the home studios of the Pro Wrestling Report, and I'm very honored, glad, and pleased to be joined by two of the greatest men on the East Coast. That means since you're east of the Mississippi, you're on the East Coast, Dave. Firstly, one David Octavius, the Tiberius the Alleged Backyard, one-time knockout, straight edge, hardcore, Hall of Famer hero. David, how the hell are you?
You know, I'm great, but I think we really need to explain what we're doing. I am in the command center of the Pro Wrestling Report. You, my friend, are in the Storm Center.
You ain't commanding nothing. And if I'm anywhere, I would rather be.
Wait a minute. How can he be in the Storm Center? I'm the Storm Center.
You are the Hurricane. Yes, exactly.
Joining us as well is the star of the program, the man who has not quite 1,000 moves, but at last count, it was at least 897. He is a man who sings. He is a man who jumps over buildings at death-defying heights. He is the superhero extraordinaire, the super of the Super Show. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Shane Hurricane Helms.
I appreciate that introduction, but I got to be honest. You said we're two of the best people on the East Coast. I'm not sure we're even two of the best people on this show. And there's only three of us for those listening to us on podcast form.
We'll put marketing back in touch with you, Shane. We've got to sell ourselves here.
And before y'all mention anything, I had to trim up the anvil a little bit. You know, you see, I had to bring it back.
See that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna be honest here. You get caught keep doing the anvil thing, you know, where you just keep kind of. And I looked over at Karen and I saw her giving me a glance, and it was a glance of disapproval. And I said, it's got to go.
No words.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of advice for relationships, but I know when you get a look of disapproval, you better make an adjustment. And I actually was getting too long anyway. I want to. I cut it a little bit too short because when you pull it straight and then you trim it, when you let it go, it zips back up.
Wait. Are you talking about manscaping or your beard? What are we talking about?
That'll come later, but it applies. It also applies.
Well, Shane, you're still looking pretty dang on good. Thank you for joining us, and want to thank the world for joining us as well. As I said before, we are live on Fight TV, FITE, Fight, our tremendous broadcast partner, but we're also live across all of the Pro Wrestling Report social media channels, including YouTube, where you can comment on the episode live chat as you're watching the episode, and we will get those comments fed right here into the control studio, and we will share many of them on air. Also, we are on Facebook Live. Same thing. Comment on the video as it is broadcasting on Facebook Live here on Thursday night, and we will share those comments as well on air. And finally, all across the social media world, ending and Twitter via Periscope. We're broadcasting live there as well. Hey, if you're watching us on Periscope, just retweet it for the hell of it. Why not? And also, if you add us at PWR 360, or in fact, at Damian Nelson, at David Hero, at Shane Helms.com, you may see your comment pop up right here on air. I want to welcome those of you who are joining us socially already, who have already commented on the broadcast, including on Facebook, Bill D. Streeter, also James Weo. Oh, we can sing We Are the World again. Jose Rosado again on Facebook, as well as Shelly Lene Martindale. So thank you to all of you joining us right now on our social media channels, and keep those comments coming in. Gentlemen, we have so much to get to, including Meathead's going to be joining us later on with a draft update to tell us how I'm winning in the current polling of the 2020 PWR Fantasy Draft. And that will be revealed later tonight while we talk about NXT and SummerSlam, which are both coming to us this weekend. But first, before we get into the Grizzly Dizzlies, I want to ask you, what was your highlight of the week from last Thursday to tonight, Shane?
In wrestling terms, or we just talk about life in general?
Life in general.
Man, I'm in school on Wednesday nights now, so that's my highlight.
School? What are you studying?
I'm taking a writing class, and my first story got put over pretty strong last night, so I felt like a little kid again. I was very excited about that. So it's been a while. I haven't had to do homework since 1994 or 5. And so it was interesting to have to do that last week.
So
good times.
That's awesome. Admirable. Theory on homework. If it can't get done at school, why does it have to get done? Why are they going to send school home with you?
I mean, those who do the extra, to go the extra mile is how you win the race.
Do you know I got all the way through high school without doing homework ever?
I didn't have to do a lot, but I think, it just depends on the kid. And just being honest, because I got 2 boys. If you can't get it done in school, then you do homework. It's just that easy. If you can get it done in class and get it, I was a really good tester. So I did. Homework was just a damn waste of my time, to be honest.
Right. David, we're talking about school education.
But so there was work they would send home that you have to do?
Yeah. Believe it or not. Man,
exactly.
Like anytime I was in a bunch of honor, not pat myself on the back. This is actually going somewhere, but I was in a bunch of honors classes in high school, and all they would do in each of these classes is just give you another book to read.
Yep.
On your downtime. So like if you're in honors English, hey, here, read this book. And I was in the TIP program from Duke University. Hey, here, read this book. And I was in the academically gifted program. Here, read this book. And I'm just walking around like my book bag weighed about 87 pounds. I can't read all this. And it's always Shakespeare every time.
Yeah.
And I want to go on record as saying this. Fuck Shakespeare.
Really?
Strong take.
Wow.
Overrated like a motherfucker. That shit sucked.
Huh.
That shit sucked. He was the only one. Like, he gets all the play because he's the only one putting out books at the time. That shit sucked.
Yeah, I hated taking tests, but now I take it twice a week, so it's completely different. But, for me, I got to talk about it. I have an issue in my backyard, like the backyard of the house. Okay.
Is this another Manscaped reference?
No, but listen to this. So, I got these bird feeders in the backyard, right? And it's like these squirrels and chipmunks, they keep climbing up the bird feeders. So I think I outsmarted them, right?
Wait, was it Alvin, Simon, or Theodore?
All 3 of those little bastards. They all showed up at once.
You're in a battle of wits with a fucking chipmunk?
and squirrels. And I'm losing. Yes. So I go out there and I canola oil the gimmicks. They, if they climb up, they're going to slide down.
What?
Yeah.
Hold up. How did you grease the pole? Was it like a little bit like this?
Oh, I just sprayed it.
Oh, okay. Spray.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, did you trim it first?
No, I just shook it first and then I sprayed. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, these little bastards aren't going to keep getting on my bird seed. And then I wake up this morning and I look, and they're jumping from the tree branches and landing now on the bird feeders. I don't know what to do. I really don't. I don't know what to put these things anymore.
We put a hummingbird feeder on our front porch. But the fucking hornets, the nectar in the hummingbird feeder attracts hornets too. And so there was a bird out there and a hornet landed on the motherfucker. I'd never seen that before.
And that's where the killer hornets came from, right there. Yep, exactly.
We got to get
fucking with my hummingbirds.
Mutual of Omaha to sponsor this show as well.
So so if anyone understands how to stop these squirrels from jumping from tree branch to tree branch, I'm at a loss.
Why are you trying to defeat nature?
Well, I mean, I don't
let it happen, man. Just let it happen.
I can't let these squirrels and chipmunks get over on me.
Do you know that in nature, a vast majority of trees are planted because squirrels will go and they'll take the fucking nuts, they'll plant them, and then just forget where they are.
That makes perfect sense.
Because squirrels are so stupid. Their stupidity actually contributes very positively to our environment. And there's my fucking TED Talk.
Well, gentlemen, let's get right down to it. Let's start with NXT this week. NXT, which drew a good audience of 853,000 viewers, up, I believe, some nearly 40% over prior week, maybe 30%. Last week, actually, they 619, so they grew their audience by almost 240,000 viewers. Of course, Dynamite not on last week on TNT, preempted due to the NBA Finals. That will air this Saturday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, I believe, upon completion of the NBA game, and hopefully before the start of NXT TakeOver, because there's going to be a little interesting duel happening on Saturday night. Lots of wrestling this weekend. But before we got to that, 853,000 people tuned in to see NXT, and it started with a qualifying match for the North American Championship. It was a ladder match. Johnny Gargano versus Ridge Holland. And David, Shane, I'd like to start with you. We're going to alternate back and forth, starting with Shane this week. This matchup where Johnny Gargano got the victory. Of course, he had a little help from Candice LeRae. What'd you think of this matchup? It wasn't a ladder match. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't a ladder. It was a good matchup. Johnny Gargano is it's interesting because I'm not sure if they want me to like him or hate him. So it's very confusing in that aspect. Ridge Holland, he's a heel, but he's a heel without steam. So this is a match that for me had not a lot of emotion. When you look at the mechanics of the match, that was fine. Some great athleticism, but no emotion. So it's always going to be a flat match in that scenario, unless you get this like super really good build, which we can't have without an audience. But it was what it was. It was another win for Johnny Gargano, but it was just, for me, it was a lateral move. Didn't really do a lot for me. And they kind of made, they had a power slam spot where he landed on his head. And It's like they tried to amplify that it was a botch. If you're an announcer, how do you know it's a botch? Do you know the spot? Why are you trying to play it like that? I don't know what the end game was to try to play it off like that. Every move that you do as a wrestler, you're supposed to be trying to injure your opponent.
Right.
So why was this one any more different? You're highlighting a botch, and that to me seems silly.
David Hero, your thoughts? Johnny Gargano gets the win, qualifies for the NXT North American Championship ladder match.
Gargano is starting to look old and broken down to me. I don't think he looked as strong as he has in the past, or maybe Ridge Holland just looked that much bigger, badder, and stronger. I think it was the best match I've seen Ridge Holland have, but you're right. It seemed like there was, again, no sense of urgency. If the commentators weren't telling us they were fighting for that spot to be in the ladder match, I don't think I would have known just by watching how aggressive they were not. But you're right. It was hard to get behind either one of them, but Johnny Gargano, he's a great guy to put in that ladder match because he's a ring general. He can help direct traffic. But I was really hoping to see Ridge Holland get the upset win.
That would not be the case, but we do move on to the NXT Championship, the North American Championship, rather, ladder match coming up this Saturday at TakeOver, I would assume. We'll talk about that later on. Dakota Kai goes up against Jesse Kamiya. Of course, getting the win there was Dakota Kai by pinfall. It was a squash match. It did what it needed to, it seemed. But Dave, you have any extra thoughts on this matchup?
Jesse Kamiya was way too happy knowing she was about to get slaughtered. But other than that, it is what it is. It was good business and just building forward. How about you, Shane?
Yeah, not necessarily a squash. Jess got some stuff in. That term squash is often misused. But this was a Dakota Kai match. This segment was for her to advance her, and it did the job. And she's doing really great at it.
Next up, we had the group of Legado. I always have to read it because I say it wrong. Legado del Fantasma up against Breezango and Isaiah Swerve Scott. I've been a big fan of Isaiah Scott for a while here, but it would be Fantasma getting the win and doing so via pinfall in this matchup. Great match, tremendous action, maybe one of the best matches of the night. Shane, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, there were some things I really liked about it. I love the entrance for Escobar. Like that whole video thing with the walk-in, they pull off the mask. There's presentation there. Those guys look like a unit. They look like they belong as a unit. You know, I talk about how the inner circle sometimes looks like they're just guys thrown together. These guys look like they belong together. And it looked really good. On the flip side, watching the entrances, I saw Fandango. They didn't do none of the shenanigans. No offense, Dave. On the entrances, which was good for this. They should be mad. They should be a little bit angry right here. Fandango came out. He had a stern look on his face. Breeze kind of looked like he didn't even want to be there. And I had this weird thought. I go, I wonder if Breeze is doing the job. And lo and behold, Breeze did the job. So I wish that as a performer that might have been coincidental. I don't know. But I know these guys have a story, so you don't just lollygag to the ring like you don't know where you're at. That's one of his weaknesses for me watching Tyler Breeze, and I think he's very talented. But unless he's doing that Zoolander face, he kind of struggles with his facials. There's nothing else there other than the Zoolander, hey, selfie. Okay, what else do you got? I need to read some emotion from you. That's how the audience identifies with what you're going through in there. And he's very stoic sometimes with that. And my advice to him would be to work on his facials and don't have the boo-boo face when you walk into the ring if you're going to do the job. Like I said, that might have been coincidental, but it popped in my head and it ended up being the result. When we go to the finish, there was a false finish with Strickland and Escobar that was absolutely incredible. And but Strickland ended up being the he was the illegal man, so the referee wouldn't count it, which enforces the authority of the referee, which I thought was fantastic. And then we get a really good finish. So I really like this segment overall.
Dave, how about you? What did you think about the segment?
You know, I agree. I love the fact that the referee stopped that because unlike the other channels, sometimes they don't always use the referee as an authoritative role. But Amigos de Fantasma, they are really starting to build something with them.
Legado.
Yeah, those guys. It's just, I like how they're using Breezango as a way to slowly introduce them and elevate them up, by having them go over on the established fan favorites as Breezango. It's going to be interesting to see where they take the whatever you said Phantasma group to that next level, because I don't know of any other teams right now that you can actually see them as a good matchup with. But my other question is, where's Drake Maverick? What has happened to him? I mean, he was involved in all this, and now poof, he's gone.
He was on last week's show, not this week.
But he's not involved in the angle that he was the biggest part of.
It's a good question. Can't answer that. What I can
what? I think Gregory Helms needs to look into this. Ace Reporter.
Gregory Helms. If Gregory Helms was on this case, he would say this was just one chapter of the story, so maybe they're saving it for something else.
What is being saved for Saturday night at TakeOver is a matchup between Adam Cole, a confrontation this past Wednesday, last night, leading to the match between Adam Cole and Pat McAfee at NXT. I stumble because I just can't get excited about this. I can't.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, after seeing Pat light it up on that microphone, that did way more for me than anything else so far, because he lit it up. He brought the thunder on that promo, and I believed him. And that just speaks volumes for me. It just speaks volumes in terms of presentation of who you are as a performer. He comes in and right away delivers that fire promo when we've got guys on that show, on the other channel, on SmackDown and Raw that can't deliver that level of promo. It was so well done. And so I don't know what he's going to be able to bring to the ring in terms of match Adam Cole can carry him. Adam Cole is that good. But man, I'm gonna take my hat off to and I know he's a talker. He's made a lot of money being a lot of money talking. You know, he's what other punter in NFL history does anybody even give a shit about? And this guy.
What other punter can you name?
None. I can.
Exactly.
I'm not an NFL. I know Ray Finkel. If that even was a real person because of the Ace Ventura movie, it might not even be a real person. I don't even know. Laces out. Is that some real shit? I don't know. But you're right. I can't name another.
Reggie Roby is the only one I can think of.
There's a Vinatieri name that sticks out there as far as
he was a kicker for the Colts.
Okay, boom. But I mean, he just made a name for himself after that, doing other avenues, and he happened to mention that. And I'm sure he had a little bit of creative freedom to say what he wants, which always helps with your confidence, saying your words as opposed to somebody else's words. But he delivered it. At the end of the day, he brought the fucking thunder on that promo. Whoops.
And I want to ask you this, Shane. He brings up a good point. You talked about how good he spoke. You were a producer, you were a performer, you were a crack reporter in WWE.
Crack?
Yeah,
no, that's what they say.
Ace reporter. What the hell is this crack?
Okay, fine. So tell me that story. You hear a lot of people talking about scripted promos and how they are not a good thing for the business.
Bullshit. If you're good, a scripted promo don't matter. Give me whatever you want me to say, I'll make you believe it.
But if you are good, why do you need to be scripted?
Because you don't write the show. It's not your show. This isn't a show where you just show up and say whatever the fuck you want. Somebody else is writing the show. They're footing the bill. They're paying your checks. You don't just show up on any other TV show and say whatever the fuck you want. You don't just show up on any other movie set, just say whatever you want. Sometimes there's a script. There's always bullet points. There's always bullet points. And, and sometimes when you got an actor like a Jim Carrey or a Vince Vaughn and they're going to ad-lib, you give them that creative freedom. It depends on the talent. Like if I know, there was one time I was out there with, it was Zack Ryder and he had a Latino. This was ECW. He had a Latino, a valet with him and I forget her name. Forgive me for that. And so we had to go out there and rehearse. No. No, this was on ECW. Rosa Mendez, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so we're going over the promo, and Zach's going over his verbiage, and she's going over her verbiage. And they sit there, they sit there, do it. And this is out in the ring in front of Vince and everybody. And then when they're done, the producer, whoever, one of the writer goes, do you want to hear a hurricane? And Vince just look at me and goes, nah, he's the hurricane.
Huh.
That's confidence.
Yeah.
That's because they know what I can do.
Right.
Actually, one was just put out today because JR did a watch along about the Milkamania episode of Monday Night Raw. and there's a clip, and I tweeted it today. Go find it. I haven't seen this thing in 15 years at least. But it's when I was talking about how Steve Austin was my new favorite superhero. That's all they really gave me. Mm-hmm. Brian Gerwitz was the writer. He goes, yeah, we want you to talk about how Steve Austin is your favorite superhero and kind of throw some comic book shit in there, compare him to this and that. And I just like, okay. And I just go off. They trusted me because they know I could do it. Right. Not everybody can do that. There's a lot of talent that cannot go out there and just say, cut a good promo on their own. And they need a scripted promo. There's a lot. It just depends on the person.
Has that always been the case? So it seems like quote unquote scripted promos are believed in the industry now as being a new thing. It would seemingly be that they are not as new as maybe we think they are.
They're new. Like we always have bullet points. Like when these writers write out a show that they're going to hand to Vince McMahon, there can't be big blocks of a blank page where it says wrestler promo. It says whatever. There can't, no script is going to work like that in the modern age. There has to be, okay, the writer can say, okay, this is a general idea of what this talent could say. And a lot of times the talent will look at that and go, okay, that works. And then some talents will go, oh, I don't know if I would say that for whatever reason. Sometimes it's some asshole reason. Sometimes it just, the talent has a thorn in their ass that day and they want to be difficult. But sometimes, like in ECW working with Ed Koski, there was a couple times he had written a promo out and I go, man, shit, that was really good. Perfect. Okay. And I said it, and I can deliver it. And then there was sometimes when I would look at it and go, I think I can make this a little bit better. And you work with the writer. I never saw in any of my years in WWE at all where a writer told a talent, you have to say this word for word. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I never saw it, and it never, ever was said to me.
All right, fair enough. David Hero, let's go on to you now. McAfee, Cole, what do you think of Wednesday night?
You know what? Watching that, for me, I even sent out a tweet, top 5 promo of the year. It was believable.
Really?
Absolutely. It was fantastic. I mean, as someone that was not interested in watching a professional wrestler fight a former NFL punter, that convinced me that it's going to be a fight and it's going to be good. And like Shane said, this guy shows up and within a couple weeks cuts one of the best promos of 2020. It's different when you're by yourself and you're going over things, but when you're out there in the ring, you have an audience and that red light goes on, sometimes you freeze up or you forget what you're going to say. He did not. He hit a home run, and even to the point when Adam Cole beat up the security guys in the ring, that was the first time you saw a little bit of fear in Pat McAfee's eyes, which I thought was fantastic. It's like, maybe I bit off more than I could in this thing, and now can my mouth cash this check? There's 2 matches I want to see at TakeOver. That is now definitely one of them.
Agreed.
Fascinating. Okay, well, let's move on, folks. Next matchup.
Whoa. Fascinating. How's that fascinating?
I just can't.
I want to throw this in because I mentioned this before, Damien. Remember, a promo has 2 purposes and 2 persons. You need to put over the match and put over your opponent. Pat McAfee did that. He went over Adam Cole's accolades. Like, he made him seem like a big deal. And then he threw some jabs in there. Okay, you got to, because you want to get this heat. But he promoted the match, he promoted the event, and he made us interested in this match, which, I mean, just like you, there were some people who were kind of like on the fence about it. I was kind of on the fence about it until that promo. Now I definitely want to see this match. There's nothing more you can ask from a promo than that.
All right. Well, that was that. And next up was Rhea Ripley and Shotzi Blackheart going up against Mercedes Martinez. And Dave, just so because I know you get confused every week, her name is Aaliyah.
Back, 4th and 4th, Aaliyah, right?
No, that's a different Aaliyah. But Blackheart Ripley getting the win.
Whoa. But let's not forget who was with them. Robert Stone.
Yes, the brand.
Yes. Again, doing amazing things.
How's his ankle?
You know what? He looks like he's doing much better. You know, I mean, it looks like it. I mean, I know he's not that tough of an individual, so I'm guessing he's got to be completely healed up. But, you know, eventually this whole Shotzi, Rhea Ripley, the Robert Stone brand has got to come to a head. They've got to do something, because right now it's just becoming very repetitive, and it's almost like it's the same thing every week. So I really hope that something comes out of this and they can move on to the next chapter.
How about you, Shane?
I like that. I do wish that Robbie E was still in the booth. I hate that everybody in pro wrestling has Wolverine's mutant healing factor. I just hate that. Such a disservice to what we do. There was things I would say Aaliyah is looking fantastic.
She's improving big time the last few weeks.
Over the last couple of weeks, I feel like her in-ring work has outshined everybody she's been in there with. And that continued this week. Rhea Ripley looks like she's beating the shit out of her. I don't know how it feels, but I know how it looks. It looks rough. One spot in particular where she did the power bomb on the concrete. Now, there was some camera cuts and creative liberty there, but Rhea Ripley after she did that. Now, this is a big move. You're going to power bomb somebody on the concrete. Like, you could die from that. Like, if your head hits the concrete, you could literally die from that.
Yeah.
All right. Now she gets in the ring afterward, and she just dropped a rap album. She's like, yeah! And it completely took me out of the moment. I was just like,
why is it got to be a rap album?
You just whatever.
It's not going to be country.
If you're doing like this, I'm gonna take a wild guess on what kind of album is being dropped. And nobody drops country. That shit.
I drop country every time it plays.
Good one. But like she did this, like she just murdered her, and the camera cuts were great, and it looked okay. She just powerbombed this human being on the concrete floor. And then she's in there like, yeah, and it completely lost me and threw away everything. And that was a huge dud for me. That was the absolute worst part of the night for me. And including Impact, anything was her reaction after that. Like that was just brutal.
There would be one more match on.
Well, hold on a second, Shane. Why do you think Rhea Ripley's been stuck in neutral? I mean, she was at WrestleMania with Charlotte Flair. And now it seems like 3 or 4 girls, maybe 5 girls now have leapfrogged over her.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I mean, like that's the thing. Like when you're the champ and then you lose it, you're stuck in that place. Same thing with Tommaso Ciampa. Exact same scenario. Like if you're not on the top, if you were a person that was on the top of that mountain and you're not there again, you're always going to be compared to that place that you were. And that's what we're inadvertently doing here. You know, it's just that's a tough spot to be in for her. You know, so
but it seems like she's not even trying. It's almost like she's not even trying to fight and claw back to get that title back.
I don't know. I beg to differ. I think that's why she's out there murdering people. I mean, because she looked brutal in that, man. She looked like she was killing Aaliyah. She looked like she didn't. I mean, when she did that thing to Mercedes and didn't even care about it, like it might be playing with her head a little bit. That's kind of how I took it. Like this is a really egocentric performance that she's putting out there. But that's a tough spot to be in. Like when you're the champ, like it's like in WCW how they booked Ric Flair, because Ric Flair was the champion forever. So anything they did with him, and I'm talking about in the Monday Night War era, when he wasn't in that title picture, it's always going to be viewed as less than, because we've always seen him there. Like Ric Flair without that big gold belt to me was always odd.
Yeah.
Like if there's somebody else that had that belt and Ric Flair was in the company, that shit just bothered me.
Yeah.
So
it was like when they made him the U.S. champ or the TV champ. I'm like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, he downgraded.
And that's a great thing. Like just imagine the U.S. championship is a downgrade. That's how great you are. And so it's a compliment that we're even saying this, because Rhea Ripley still is one of their top talents, male or female. And, you know, the sky's the limit for her. But it's one of those things. Do you do nothing with her, or do you put her on the show? You know, so.
Well, there would be one more match. Great discussion, guys. And it would be another qualifying match for that title, that ladder match for the North American Championship. I can't, it seems like everybody was involved in this matchup, but the 2 men that should have been in the match were Finn Balor, the endorsed Finn Balor, and Velveteen Dream. After shenanigans, Cameron Grimes, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, everybody is involved. Timothy Thatcher in this matchup. Velveteen Dream pulls the surprise win and is going on to NXT Saturday night to get a chance in that ladder match for the championship. Shane, what did you think of this match?
I was surprised at that. I thought Finn Balor would get the hand raised there, but I mean it was a good match. You know, I think Velveteen Dream has a lot of natural instincts that can't be taught. He's really good at that. Great facials. There's so many guys on TV right now that their facials are just atrocious. Watch Velveteen Dream. His facials are really good. A lot of good stuff. You know, there was a lot of shenanigans with everybody running in. The Johnny Gargano doing the thing where Damian Priest was behind him and he's touching him. Like, we've seen that spot 18,000 times. I feel like they could have been a little bit more creative there. But out of it, everybody getting a little bit of a shine. Then Thick Boy at the end, which y'all know I've been a fan of him for weeks and weeks.
How do you say it?
Thick Boy. Thick Boy. You can either say bye or bye. It's up to you. So Thick Boy. With the big highlight at the end, I like, so I thought this was a really good go-home segment to lead us into the takeover.
David Hero, what do you say?
Completely shocked that Finn Balor didn't get that last spot. I thought it was a great match. I mean, it was very evenly matched. And talking about the Dream's facials, you're right. I'm watching that match. I'm like, he's a lot more extra than what I've normally seen in the past. And there was a sense of urgency. It really seemed like the two of them were fighting for something. But, like I said about Rhea Ripley being stuck in neutral, what has happened to Finn Balor? I mean,
here we go.
To me, it's just absolutely amazing that at one time he was groomed to be the face of Monday Night Raw.
And then he got a terrific shoulder injury that took him out of action for 6 months.
Right, but he cannot win the big match. He's won one big match. He did, and then he got hurt in it, and then he hasn't done anything since then. This would have been the great launching pad to get him going. I really think NXT, and they have a lot of great young stars, but I think they really need a Finn Balor to be the North American Heavyweight Champion right now. Because he can be like Cody and elevate everybody else because of his the respect that he has by so many people in wrestling.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think you're very on the money there. His name value, his star power, he can have a good match with anybody. So yeah, I mean, the same thing I said about Rhea Ripley kind of applies to him right now. When he doesn't, because he was such a big international star and he came in with so much hype. But there's still some stuff that can be done with him to get him even further. I do believe that. I do want to say too, when Timothy Thatcher came out wearing like his just regular street clothes, he looked to me like somebody that would be doing community service, picking up trash on the side of the road. I was just like, my man had on like mailman pants and a baggy t-shirt. I'm like, damn. Listen, I know I come from a little bit of a different generation, but I'm not that far removed. But the unwritten rule was, if you're on a TV show, look like a TV star.
But doesn't that
don't look like my fucking mailman?
But doesn't that fit for Thatcher? I mean, he's a bit he's rugged. He's a bit
well, then be in your gear or something. I don't care. But my dude just showed like you can have something that doesn't look like you just got your shit from the Goodwill. No offense to anybody listening that may shop at the Goodwill, but that's just what I saw. I just saw a guy that I seen picking up trash on the side of the road. That's what that looked like to me.
And you know what, Shane? And I agree with you, but the opposite end of the spectrum, I've seen guys come out wearing cuffed skinny jeans and like no, they don't look tough either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like It's a coin flip. As long gone are the days of the guys running out in their Zubas and their it's just exactly.
There's a famous promo, Dave. You'll know this, Damien. I'm wondering if you will, but Magnum TA and Dusty Rhodes come out, and they're in these big, ridiculous fur coats.
Yeah.
Yes. I wore that fur coat at one point. It was fantastic.
Okay, well, I'm sure it looked just as ridiculous on you as it did on me. I can promise you, Magnum TA and Dusty Rhodes didn't walk around wearing, in their ordinary lives, big trench coat mink coats.
Yeah. Even in the 80s.
They did it for the look. They did it for the segment. You know what I mean? They probably borrowed them shits anyway. They didn't even go buy them. There was somebody else's coats that they let them borrow for the segment. Just look like somebody. Just do something.
And that's the problem. I don't want to say everybody, a lot of the people that show up on TV when they come to the ring for their in-ring promos or their backstage vignettes look like regular guys. And it's to the point now sometimes, and Shane and Damon, I've been saying this for a while, and you've heard it from other people. Sometimes I can't tell the difference between who's wrestling on the show and who bought a ticket.
Exactly. You'll never stand out. You'll never stand out if you blend in. And you can put that on a shirt or a bumper sticker. You can tattoo it on your ass. It's going to be true no matter who says it. You will never stand out if you blend in. That's just how it is.
So I want to get back to the social media universe. Great discussion.
But I think you should tattoo it on your ass just for if you're asking for mine.
Just make sure you shave first. Use that Manscaped gimmick down there. We've got all kinds of people joining us socially right now, including several users on YouTube. Want to welcome Jay Hamid, Russell Plummer, And lots of people, actually, lots of comments coming in, including more on Facebook. We've got a new viewer by the name of William Smith who's joining us, who I'll get to first. A comment from Russell Plummer here that I'll show on the air, Plumer, for all of you. And it was complimentary to NXT as we completed discussing that just a moment ago. I want to give props to NXT. They featured women wrestlers and lesser known talent on a night they could have stacked title matches and stars with no AEW competition. Actually, it seems like it was that would have been a very bad thing for them to do, because they had the audience they were going to get regardless. And there's some math that's missing here. So we talked about they did 853,000 viewers did NXT with the absence of AEW. They picked up about 240,000. But last week, AEW had 792,000 viewers. Combined with NXT, 619,000. We're at about 1.4 million people watching wrestling. Where did the other 500,000 people, 600,000 people go last night? Why weren't they watching at all?
Because the DNC was on. Come on.
You had the DNC, you had the NBA,
given by,
and also you had the NBA, which is why AEW got preempted for the NBA. So there were fans watching that. Not a lot, because their numbers weren't great either. But also, those numbers are always weird because there are people that switch the channel.
Yeah,
I watch AEW and NXT. Which one gets my vote? So nobody really knows. That shit is all really kabuki. For this show, to me, it only matters because who won the numbers. We're going to talk about that show first.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's the most boring conversation I have about the business is the ratings, because it's such a weird thing these days. With all the other streaming services, you got people watching it on different devices, different services. The ratings they don't mean what they used to. And they never really ever had a concrete formula of what they meant anyway.
Nope. And it's so funny. There's so many people who are experts at the numbers. And Chris Jericho's doing a great job of it. We've talked about the whole demo god thing, right? He's actually
Chris Jericho is an expert at marketing.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm talking about like people on social media, the ratings this week, they're predicting numbers and then guessing or talking about which show is better because the ratings are better. And as you said, Shane, it's a whole different metric right now. Yeah. A lot of people are using the metric that we used during the Monday Night Wars. There was no Hulu. There was no Netflix. There were no on-demand apps that you could use to watch a show. You literally had to flip between or record on that VCR thing you mentioned earlier, David, to watch one show or the other. So that rating was either captured or it was never captured. Right now, ratings are captured live, DVR +5, DVR +7 on the out-of-home viewing on social media channels. All of those metrics are so different now that, again, that's the challenging part. If those who just look at Wednesday ratings is a bit of a challenge.
Here's the thing also. You can go on YouTube on Thursday morning, and there are people that will post both shows in its entirety to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can watch it in multiple different ways. TNT has an app. You can watch it on the app on the next day.
Yep.
So, yeah, exactly. The whole game has changed.
And to be fair,
must-see TV hasn't existed since Seinfeld. That's how long it's been going.
And Seinfeld went off the air in 1998.
Just ask Larry King.
Indeed. Thank you for that discussion. Thank you for your conversations as well during the broadcast here on social media. Again, we want to take this time to pause for just one moment and give you the opportunity to, on whatever platform you are watching, we're going to take a pause, literally a moment of silence for you to either like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or subscribe on YouTube. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? What's also not hard is for you to look almost as good as Shane and 12 times better than Dave by getting one of the great shirts, one of the tremendous shirts they are wearing right now from our dear, close personal friends over at collarandelbowbrand.com. Dave, who are you wearing this week?
I am wearing the Big Apple CXE from WrestleMania New York. The last WrestleMania, we all got to hang out together. I'm wearing that one. Shane, of course, has one of my favorite shirts. Who'd you ever beat? I think Shane can answer that by saying the Scorpion King. I think that's right, isn't it? Exactly.
Scorpion King, Ric Flair, Jericho,
So
just some of the legends.
head over to collarandelbowbrand.com, use promo code PWR360, and I heard from a little birdie that a whole new line is dropping on September 2nd. So just wait for that fall fashion to hit as well.
So I'll be checking my mailbox on September the 3rd.
Exactly. Yes.
Is there
if not sooner.
Is there going to be a Thunderdome shirt?
Probably not.
Listen, if Thunder Lips doesn't do a promo for Thunderdome, an opportunity has been missed. That's all I want to say.
collarandelbowbrand.com right now. Use the code PWR at checkout and go ahead and get yourself some great gear. And as you guys have mentioned many a time before, some of the most comfortable t-shirts you will ever wear. I want to call an audible here on the show. We're going to talk about, we're going to do Be the Booker later on, but we got a flow going now. And maybe it makes more sense to, instead of waiting, to go right into TakeOver for this Saturday night, because we just got done talking about the go-home show for TakeOver. Gentlemen, how do you feel about that?
That works for me.
Let's do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, huh? Let's go first with the match you guys are going to love. I think it's a number one contender match for the Tag Team Championship. It's Legado del Fantasma versus Breezango versus Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. Again, the winners become the number one contenders for the Tag Team Championship. Shane, how would you book this match and why?
Tough call on that one. So, and when you're looking at the champions are Imperium, so it kind of leads me to believe we're going to have a babyface go against him. So I want to go with Breezango for that reason, just from my gut. One's team, they're doing some good stuff too. I don't think that Escobar's guys need it, so I'm gonna stick with Breezango on this one.
Breezango is who Shane would have win the matchup. Dave, how about you and why?
I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go with Amigos de Fantasma. I just think that they're going to build them, make them a little bit stronger. I think that it would be a interesting matchup. It reminds me of back in, I want to say maybe 86, 87, when they thought about turning Jake Roberts babyface and they put Jake the Snake against Randy Savage on some house shows. I was at one of those in Milwaukee for the IC title, and it was cool seeing two bad guys fight each other and see who gets the bigger reaction. I think Imperium against the high-flying Team Fantasma, I just think that could be a very interesting thing. But then again, Danny Burch has been fantastic. You can't not include them in the conversation, but I'm going to go with Team Fantasma.
All right, Phantasma for David Hero. Thank you for saying it properly at the end there. And Breezango for Hurricane Helms. Next up, let's talk about it. The matchup, the money match, if you will, the marquee match. Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole. David Hero, how would you book that one and why? Here we go.
I mean, obviously Adam Cole is going to win. There's no way he can't. I think it's going to be very physical. I think they are going to fight. They are going to punch. They are going to kick. They are going to rake the back. They are going to poke the eyes. I'm hoping that the football players don't get involved in this match, because I don't think that it's needed. I think that will just make it clumsy. But for me, the interesting thing is Adam Cole and his team, are they the baby faces? Because I don't know. I can't figure that out, but it's not going to make a difference at the end of the day. I fully expect Adam Cole to get the victory on Saturday.
Adam Cole is who you would book to win or who you expect to win, Dave?
Both.
All right, Shane Helms, what do you say?
Let me ask you this, Dave. Who won between Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow?
Lawrence Taylor.
So why do you think Adam Cole can't lose this match? When historically WWE has done the exact same thing on a much bigger stage, on the biggest stage of them all.
I think it's because do you really foresee Pat McAfee being a part-time player?
Did you see Lawrence Taylor?
No, but Lawrence Taylor was the baby face, and it was in New York, and it was against the villainous Bam Bam Bigelow.
I think I see what you're saying about Bam Bam Adam Cole, but I think it could go either way. I would expect Adam Cole to get the win. I don't know if Pat McAfee is going to stick around. I think, though, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow there's some kind of kabukiness amidst the Undisputed Era that causes Adam Cole to lose.
A run-in by the Great Kabuki?
That could always happen. You can always get a mist. The mist is always approved by Shane Helms. I'm going to go with Pat McAfee on this. I think there might be some kabuki shit that happens. And the Undisputed Era, we have to dissolve this faction at some point. The NXT roster isn't deep enough to keep them together forever. They need to dissolve. The matches that they could have in between themselves, they could have so many great matches. Putting them in the group limits the brand of NXT. You got to get them. You got to break them up. They're not. That roster is nowhere near as deep as we're led to believe. It's just not. We see the same shit almost every week. It's time to break them up, and this could be a good story point to getting them there to that breakage.
And you've been talking about that for a while of breaking up the Undisputed Era.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. I mean, when you have Pat McAfee running down the size of Adam Cole,
but that's always going to be the case. That part wasn't saying nothing new. Adam Cole is always going to be a small guy. So that wasn't.
But if Pat McAfee wins, then he's right.
Well, if anybody says that and they beat Adam Cole, they're right.
Right, but it's different if it's, for me, my opinion, it's different if it's someone that is in the ring 7 days a week, 365 days a year, as opposed to a guy that just shows up. You know, he just got married, he does a podcast, comes in the ring, says he's only bumped.
Hey, what you got against podcasts? All right, just pump the brakes on that. All right.
Well,
but listen, I'm not talking about it's going to be a straight up match. There's going to be shenanigans, and you should. I know you approve. I know you approve of shenanigans.
I love
there's
shenanigans.
Going to be shenanigans. There's going to be outside interference aplenty. There's going to be so many more bodies involved in this than we even know. Hunter might be involved.
You know, and that's the one thing that I could see. I could see Triple H coming down, delivering the pedigree, and then being done with Adam Cole. Then Adam Cole and Hunter can go and do their thing.
Well, the NXT Women's Championship will be on the line. Io Shirai will be defending against Dakota Kai. Shane Helms, we'll start with your booking of this match.
This one's hard because I love them both. They're both on a roll. They both have momentum. Man. But it might be Dakota Kai's time. Like, I love Io Shirai. The promo packages they've done with her in the past several weeks. I mean, almost a month, like 5 or 6 weeks of really great promos from Io Shirai video packages. But it might be time for Dakota Kai to steal that championship. So I'm going to go with her.
Interesting. Shane Helms going with Dakota Kai. David Hero, do you also see the championship changing hands at TakeOver on Saturday?
I do. It just, Damian, we've talked about this so many times. It's always right in front of us. And who's been getting a lot of TV time? It's been Dakota Kai. And I agree also. I think it's her time, and I think she will be a fantastic, dastardly heel cheating to win champion.
All right, NXT TakeOver is live Saturday night on pay-per-view on the WWE Network, rather. And 2 more matches will round out the show, at least from what has been announced so far. And the next will be the aforementioned ladder match for the North American Championship. We'll run down the names of the participants because I want to hear specifically how you would book us through this match to the winner, at least in the final sequence, if you will, the last men, or how the ladder is climbed and the championship won. But it will be Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, Velveteen Dream, who qualified by beating Finn Balor last night on NXT, and one more participant, Shane. I forget his name, though. I can't quite say it properly.
Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes, also the
former Omega heavyweight champion.
Another participant in that matchup. So, David Hero, we'll start with you this time, as Shane went first last time. Who and how would you book this ladder match, and who walks out the North American champion?
Good luck.
Exactly. The only person I know that I feel is not going to win this match is the Velveteen Dream. But I mean, you got Cameron Grimes. He's always right in the mix of everything. Damian Priest has looked fantastic. Bronson Reed, he's been a stud. You got to believe it's going to come down between Damian Priest and Johnny Gargano, I think, in the end. Because I think by having Gargano in there, they can play off that he's, the most takeover matches that they talked about ad nauseum last night. And I think him going for it, they can tease him being the first 2-time. But, Damian Priest has been the really good soldier. And he's another guy that really has come up short in some of the bigger matches. And, right now, I'm going to go with Damian Priest just outsmarting Johnny Gargano in the end to leave as the North American champion.
You feel good about that, Dave? It took you a while to get there.
Well, because I like Bronson Reed. I think he would be fantastic. But do you want to have a Bronson Reed and then a big Keith Lee as your two cornerstone champions? Again, Cameron Grimes, he could sneak in there. I mean, he's a sneaky little bastard. I wouldn't be surprised if he climbs up over someone's shoulders and grabs it. But I think Damian Priest is the right call at this time. All
right, Shane Helms, how would you book it?
I don't think that's a bad call at all right there. It's hard for me because my heart, I love some Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes. So I know the potential. I personally know the potential there. So, but we all know what potential means. So there's a lot of good choices. I think the story with Gargano being a champion before, reclaiming it, he can have a good match with anybody. They just been so indecisive with how they want us to view him lately. That bothers me. Velveteen Dream, I'm not sold on him right now. Cameron Grimes, I think he'll win in the future some point. I'm not sure if he needs it right now. I feel like it's Damian Priest or Thick Boy. And I've been pushing with Thick Boy, so I was leaning toward Damian. But since David picked him, I'm going to pick, just to make this interesting, I'm going to go with Bronson Reed. I remember when I mentioned how great I thought he was weeks ago, y'all were surprised.
Yeah.
Y'all were surprised when I said he could be a Vader.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel about it? How you feel about him now? So I think either one of those guys, I think anybody, and that's what's great about this match, because a lot of times in these multi-man matches, there's always that one or two people that, they ain't going to get that shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's always, whether it's Money in the Bank, whether it's whatever the hell matches they are, there's always somebody in this match, that guy ain't going to win it. But any of these competitors, I could see being the champion. So, but we got to pick one, so I'm going to go with Bronson Reed.
And just to clarify, Bronson Reed is not related to Butch.
That we know of.
Copy.
It could be.
We don't know if he's natural.
The NXT Championship will be on the line. Keith Lee will defend against Karrion Kross. Shane, Hurricane Helms, how would you book this matchup?
I'm going to go with Karrion Kross.
New champ.
New champ. But that's tough. I could very easily see them continuing the Keith Lee run. And I think I understand that completely. But I like Karrion Kross. I like what he's bringing to the table, especially if Bronson Reed becomes the North American champion. I know they're not going to switch all three titles in one night. So I'm trying to be cognizant of that. More than likely, Keith Lee will retain. So I'm going to put an asterisk. Actually, you know what? I'm just going with Keith Lee. I'm just going with Keith Lee on this one.
All right, from Karrion Kross to Keith Lee.
But I think Karrion Kross. Can I just pick both of them, and that's just how it's going to be?
Well, you would be explaining then how you're going to book both of them to win the match.
I think. God, this one's tough. Hold on.
But you know what, Shane? You can always pull out that non-finish card also.
They could go to a non-finish. What if there's a non-finish in a ladder match? Nobody can climb the fucking thing. What if the ladders catch on fire because Because what's her name? Karrion Kross's valet comes out and blows a kiss, and it sets the ladder on fire because they got magic powers now that nobody knows about. So that could happen.
Or Antifa shows up, or wait, what are they called? Retribution?
What about the Proud Boys? Why they got to be Antifa? Why can't they be the Proud Boys, Dave?
They're the fucking they're the damn lollipop guild is what they are. Let's be honest. But I don't know. I would hate to do. I'm gonna go with Keith Lee.
You are so torn, and
I am torn, and that's a good thing. That's the best thing. The best thing is to be torn. So I'm gonna go with Keith Lee.
David Hero, how would you book this championship matchup at Takeover?
Here's the whole problem with this match: is Keith Lee has yet to get his heat back. Okay, Karrion Kross has beat up his best friend. Karrion Kross and Scarlett have basically blinded him, and Big Keith Lee has yet to get any heat back on Karrion Kross. That being said, I'm expecting a complete fight, like destroy everything in the PC kind of fight, where they just go all over the place. And I'm going to pull the no finish card because I honestly believe this match does not need a decisive winner right now. I think this is the kind of match that they can build and keep running with for the next 2 or 3 months. There's no way you put the belt on Keith Lee to have him drop it a month later. I don't think that does Keith Lee any good. Unless the only way you can do that is for Karrion Kross to just destroy Keith Lee. But I just don't see that happening either. So I think both guys, it's almost like an Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan moment where they just, before WrestleMania 6, obviously. But yeah, I'm going to go with the no finish. I just think they're both going to knock each other out.
So you're not booking someone to win.
No, you don't have to. Sometimes you book the main event to go to the next show. I mean, how many times did you see, like in Memphis, would Jerry Lawler, lose by DQ or lose by countout to come back the next month to a bigger house?
I gotta be honest. I see Karrion Kross moving up to that main roster pretty soon too. I see it sooner rather than later. Because I think Karrion Kross belongs in Thunderdome.
I mean, I could see Karrion Kross make his debut at the Royal Rumble, and then just that throws a monkey wrench into the whole thing. I don't want to see him up before then because every time they rush somebody up from NXT, it's a disaster.
Is it?
Well, name somebody in the last 3 years they've brought up from NXT that's been a top star. Fantastic.
I mean, I thought Balor was good until he got injured. You can't really count that.
Balor was fantastic and was a top star and won the championship. You're right, Shane, until he got injured. And Dave, you seem to keep being dismissive of the fact.
And I think the Viking Raiders have done good. I think.
Okay, but look at what's happened to the Viking Raiders since then. Now that's a comedy hour with them. I mean, Aleister Black was Rey Mysterio's best friend.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things that are odd. I'm sure, but you said nobody, and I gave you an example. That's all.
No. Hold on. No. Okay. Whoa. Fine. Okay. You guys can have Finn Balor. That was 4 or 5 years ago when he won the.
Which is why you quantified it and said within the last 3 years, excluding Finn Balor.
Okay. No. Okay, but even if you.
Who are the Raw Tag Team Champions right now?
The Street Profits.
Where did they come from?
The Smoke.
NXT. Who else are there? What other tag teams are there on Raw?
Okay, so now I've gave you 2 examples.
I don't think that you can really truly say the Street Profits are ridiculously. I said, who's gotten over? Who's been a big star? You think Street Profits are a big star on Raw?
I thought they were getting there until we lost our audience. I know I saw what they were doing on live events and TV. I think they were on the way until we got into the COVID era, but no, I mean, I'm not disagreeing that there has been a lot of problems, but that's because there's a huge difference between working in front of small crowds and big crowds.
Right.
And people that haven't done it don't understand that. You can get over locally and then you go on the world stage and sometimes it just doesn't work. That's been the case for a million people. There's been a lot of people that went to WWF even back in the day and we thought they were going to be big stars and just shit just didn't work. Look at Barry Windham. Barry Windham is one of the best in-ring performers there's ever been. He just didn't work in the WWF.
Not even as a Widowmaker.
And I love the Widowmaker. That was my favorite Barry Windham. But
what was the tag team? Him and Blackjack they were the
Blackjacks.
The Blackjacks, yeah. Who was the partner?
It was Bradshaw.
Bradshaw, yes, it was, yes.
Justin Hawk Bradshaw.
Yes. Well, David Hero, you are going with no contest, no finish in that matchup. So no name gets written down. You get no credit for being right or wrong.
Hold on a second. If it's a no finish, I get credit. But if somebody else wins, I don't.
You'll find a way to take credit, though.
Well, of course.
Speaking of taking credit, you know who takes credit, and we've been talking about it several times during the show, but we're so happy that this show, this podcast, and this video version of the show on Fight TV are brought to you by Manscaped.
Y'all talk about this. I'll be right back.
Oh, you're getting ready to go use Manscaped. Shane's getting ready to shave his balls right now, and you can do that as well. 20% off and free shipping. So not only do you get the greatest device in precision engineered shaving of your nether regions, but you also get 20% off and free shipping. So they're going to get it to you for free, and it is a great product, David Hero. I know you've been doing a lot of experimentation with it as of late.
Yes, it's absolutely fantastic. It is. I just never felt better. It's hard to explain the soap, the deodorant gimmick, the precision, the nightlight. The nightlight comes in very handy too. So yeah, go to manscaped.com, use promo code PWR, save 20%. They got some awesome gimmick specials going on right now. Damien, they even have a nail clipper nail file set, which I know you would love because you're all about, your manicures and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, it's part of the overall manscaping, and I get manscaped. The thing lasts, the manscaper alone lasts for 90 minutes. So, you can go to town, get a lot of stuff done. How
much time do you need? 90 minutes. I hope Shane's not gone for 90 minutes. That is explaining to do.
If I needed 90 minutes.
Oh, I see.
And, again, manscaped.com. Promo code PWR, 20% off and free shipping. Your balls will thank you.
Yeah, you can't beat that. So think about it. collarandelbowbrand.com, promo code PWR360. You're going to save money there. Then you go over to manscaped.com, promo code just PWR. You're going to save 20%. We are saving everybody money. How about that?
So we do here. We realize the economy, it's tough times in the economy. And now we're giving back by giving back.
Yeah. And then, of course, also at collarandelbowbrand.com, we got the Hurricane Shane Helms shirts.
That we do have that as well. And want to remind everybody that the Pro Wrestling Report Fantasy Draft continues. In fact, points will be accumulated and scored at... Hello, Shane. Welcome back.
There he is.
You look refreshed.
Woo.
You look confident, and feeling secure.
My damn eyeballs were flipping.
I was going to say, all that water he drinks,
We were just about to take a timeout anyways. We're going to go to the man they call Meathead, appearing here on the Super Show for the first time in a long time with the draft scoring update. So keep in mind what we talked about for NXT TakeOver and what we're going to talk about in just a little while for SummerSlam. And also, we'll tell you more about our great partner in Fight TV. So first, Meathead, take it away.
Hello again, I'm the man they call Meathead, and this is a PWR draft update. Now, after WWE's Extreme Rules, the horror show, it's truly a horror show in the standings as well for all of you except for the man they call Meathead. Here are the current totals brought to you by the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. I'm in the lead with 940 points. Dave Hero at 610. Damian Nelson not in last place at 550, but Linda Kay and Drew Baydala tied for last at 520. Now, the next show up is going to be this Saturday night. It's NXT Takeover 30, followed directly the next day on Sunday by SummerSlam. Lots of points are up for grabs. Here's who's participating. I have Drew McIntyre, Bailey, Street Profits, Angel Garza, and Asuka. Dave has got The Fiend, Braun Strowman, Keith Lee, and Karrion Kross. Damian Nelson has Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. Linda Kay has Zelina Vega and Alexa Bliss, only in appearances, not in actual matches. And Drew has Adam Cole. Now, there's more matches that can be announced. Stay tuned to PWR360 on Twitter and PWR360.com for more details. And don't forget, It's my first day talking, folks. Don't forget to check out PWR today, Monday through Friday, with myself and the rest of the team from the Pro Wrestling Report. For the PWR Draft, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.
It is so damn good to be in first place in the draft. I understand Meathead's numbers were a little
place.
I'm winning. I'm in first place. He just said it. You're not listening. I'm right. I'm number one, right in the middle. Right in the middle. Number one. I'm in first place.
Okay.
There are people on either side of me, so I'm in first place. I've got the pole position.
You are a pole position.
That's your favorite position.
Hey, my mother's goal in life was to make sure she kept me off the pole, and she successfully did that.
Did she, though?
I've never been paid to dance on a pole. Let's get...
I see nothing. I see nothing.
We're live, ladies and gentlemen, on Fight TV.
The wait is over. All Elite Wrestling is now available on AEW Plus.
What are we seeing?
This is your chance to watch AEW Dynamite, commercial-free and live every Wednesday night.
Let's do this!
Exclusively on the Fight Digital Sports television platform. AEW Plus is available in over 100 countries outside the U.S., Canada, Germany, and France. AEW Plus can be viewed on your smart TV, mobile device, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, or at Fight.tv.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Starting this month, AEW Plus will also feature every episode of AEW Dark. Download the Fight app now and join the revolution today.
Well, fans, we're back here on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Super Show. We're live here on Thursday, August 20th, 2020, 8/20/20 on Fight TV and, of course, across our social media channels. Damian Nelson here along with Shane Hurricane Helms. And, it's been a great show. We're already gone an hour and 12 minutes. We're going to go about another 30 minutes here. We got to talk about Impact on Tuesday night. We're going to talk about SummerSlam coming up this Sunday. But first,
Whoa.
Impact.
Okay, well, go ahead. Well, hold on. First, can we talk about something else real quick?
This ought to be good.
I want to talk about Dominic Mysterio on Monday Night Raw. And Shane, we've talked about this. Guys, no selling injuries. That boy got beat. And he made it look good coming to the ring. But when he was throwing those kendo sticks around, it's like he was Superman. Like he felt nothing. I just think that right there defeated the entire purpose of having any heat because, well, he got his heat back. He already beat up Seth Rollins now. Now he did with his dad. When I think they should have saved that for Sunday and SummerSlam.
Yes, 100%. 100%. I wouldn't have had him be seen. I would just have pictures of him in therapy, some shit like that. It's just supersonic booking, supersonic storytelling, so damn fast. Nobody, and we do it to ourselves. We blame it on short-term audience, the short-term attention span of the audience. That plays into it, sure. But we do it to ourselves. Nobody sells anything. And I promise you, 100%, he was fucked up last week. I promise you, he's still fucked up now. You don't take 30 lashes from a Singapore cane and you're okay. So this business somehow went from not getting hurt and selling it to actually getting hurt and no selling it.
If you look at it over the last
fucking sense. None.
If you look at it over the last couple of weeks, you had Adam Cole get his head kicked off. Okay.
Yeah, I guess he's fine.
He's back the next week. Now you had Rey Mysterio or Dominic Mysterio just get slaughtered. He shows up the next week. And what's even worse is Randy Orton RKO'd and punt kicked Shawn Michaels, and he still had enough to pull himself up in the corner afterwards within 30 seconds. What is going on? When did it become where nobody sells anymore? But yet Drew McIntyre takes the RKO and he's laid out to end off, to end Raw.
Like if you can punt Big Show unconscious, anybody that takes that kick should be done. So I don't know. Like it's right there. Like the problems are right there. If everybody's bulletproof, that's why nobody cares if you shoot a gun at Superman. They're going to bounce off. No, so when you pull a gun on Superman, nobody watching a Superman movie gives a shit if you pull a gun on Superman. Nobody cares. If you pull out Kryptonite, we care. Why? Because we know where to hurt him. We know he'll sell. You're going to pull a knife on Superman? Who gives a shit? There's no interest in that. And apparently, like I said, everybody in the business now has superhuman healing powers. Like
I got her powers.
Everybody. Shit, I sold way better than any of these. A damn sure bump better. But like even talking about that Milkomania show, like on that show, Lita was coming down selling the leg thing from something that happened last week. And I'm like, when's the last time you've even seen that? When's the last time you've seen anybody acknowledge anything that happens?
So let me ask you guys a question then.
Ask us.
Recent history, even the last 12 months, when has a sell been appropriate? When has it been executed properly?
The best sell job I've seen in recent memory was Eddie Kingston working Cody. That's the best wrestling match I've seen in recent memory of somebody selling a leg injury. They sold it through the entire match. They sold it after the match. They sold it to the back.
But not the following week. And I think the point that's being made,
I don't know if I saw him the following week. Did you see him?
You didn't. No.
Okay,
no,
well
no.
then, all right then. Well, you can't say he wasn't sell. You didn't see it. He wasn't there.
I didn't buy it either, so I wasn't sold it.
It might be Aleister Black. It might be Aleister Black right now because they took his eye out a couple weeks ago, and we have not seen him since.
So apparently, but by going by Damien's definition, that means he's not selling if you haven't seen it.
No. No. What I'm saying, Mr. Moderator, is that Dave's point is selling after, right? You're talking about Dominic should have been selling from last week.
Yeah, you don't have not seeing a person is a part of selling.
Oh,
you don't need to see them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we shouldn't have seen it.
You know who's still selling though is Becky Lynch. She'll be selling for at least 4 more months.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Do you miss her?
Yeah. She was a talent, of course.
You know what though? But
I don't miss her.
You know what? Here's the thing: Roman Reigns has been gone. Becky Lynch has been gone. Brock Lesnar has been gone. How much difference do you think they would be making?
2-2. See what I did there?
How much of a difference do you think those three talents would be right now in the COVID era of television?
I mean, they'd be more interested in terms of star power. I'd definitely be interested if they were on my TV as opposed to people I didn't know. But you can say that about any show. But I mean, this is if there's ever an era not to be on TV, this is the time. Because
I think, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, Bayley and Sasha Banks have picked up for Becky Lynch.
Yes,
I think they've done a good job of filling that void. But I don't think anybody has picked up or filled in the void for Roman Reigns right now.
Drew McIntyre to a degree.
Drew's on Raw. If we're gonna look at brands, I don't think anyone has picked up the slack on the SmackDown brand for losing Roman Reigns.
Well, gentlemen, in the interest of time, we'll leave that there. We'll move on to Impact Wrestling this past Tuesday night on Access TV. The show started with the X Division Championship matchup. It was TJP versus Chris Bay, and Raju had inserted himself as a third man in that match to help his friend, but that would not be the case throughout the match. Regardless of all that, Raju getting the win, defeating Bay and TJP. X Division action to open the show. Shane, what did you think?
Love the athleticism and creativity. In terms of psychology, this was the biggest miss of the week. You got basically a 2-on-1, and you still can't figure out how to get Jeopardy. Huge miss there. Like this was just seemed like a talent show to see how many cool moves TJP could fit in.
It's a video game match?
Yeah, it was a video game match. There was no Jeopardy. Like I said, 2-on-1, and you can't figure out how to get Jeopardy there. Like Jesus Christ. I thought it was a little early to take the championship off Chris Bay, but I understand the story with the new champ. What I didn't like was this, and this is me admitting to being an old man and get off my lawn, old man. Like, you got this heel win a championship, and then you got everybody in the company getting on social media congratulating him like he's Rocky Balboa, that he was this underdog, that he's this great person, this great human being. What message are you trying to send to me as a viewer?
Yep.
Like your television viewer and your social media viewer, they overlap. They're one and the same. They're not entirely two different groups. So if you want me to hate this guy or dislike this guy, but at the same time you're patting him on his ass and telling me what a great human being he is, there's a disconnect. And for a company that they're not the top of the ladder, they know that, we know that. I'm not saying anything new. That's not a jab, but you need to do everything you can to put over your television product. That should reign supreme over your social media point of view.
Yep.
I don't understand why they did that, but like I said, that's me admittedly being the old man. But love the athleticism in the match, love the creativity, but like I said, they really dropped the ball in terms of psychology, and it was what it was.
David Hero, your quick thoughts on this match?
I agree. I was shocked that they dropped they took the belt off Chris Bay as quick as they did. I thought he was a great X Division champion. Extremely shocked that the big Raju won that match. I couldn't believe it that he left as the champion. And then you're right, Shane. If you look down social media right after that, it's like a ticker tape parade. And again, as much as we love social media, that didn't do them any good business. Much like when you see Braun Strowman on SmackDown be this vicious monster that's willing to throw Alexa Bliss 20 rows back, and then all of a sudden the next day on his social media you see him hanging up with his niece or little kids and saying how he can't wait to be a dad. I don't get it. I don't understand why. I think it just negates everything that you're trying to do, especially when you have 1 million some followers like a Braun Strowman does. You're showing everybody that you're not the guy you say you are.
Moose gets a win over Miguel in the TNA Championship matchup. The bigger story here might have been EC3 making a statement at the end of that matchup. Dave Hero.
And we've said this for weeks now. The Moose is the guy. He walks, he talks, he does everything of being a world champion. He looks the part, he is the part, he does the part. That match was way too long. It was almost like watching batting practice. In baseball, it did nothing for me. EC3 once again shows up and gets over on Moose. It's almost to the point where Moose is going to become the babyface because EC3 keeps sneaking up and is being almost heelish with Moose, because what has Moose ever truly done to EC3 to warrant all this?
Well, it's the EC3 just wants the championship, or wants to redefine the championship, as he said.
But when was the last time a babyface came across as being a heel chasing after the heel champion?
We've not been doing good with last times on this show this week.
I like this match. This match was another one that they could have ended on a count out and used a count out as a more efficient tool than we've done in the last couple of decades. There was a really, really cool spot where Trey Miguel does his dive over the top. Moose catches him, bangs his ass against the guardrail, power bombs him on the floor. He rolls back in. They do the thing where Miguel gets in at like 9 9/10. Everything after that didn't do anything. Moose could have won by count out and said, "See how great I am, got that heat, make a count out mean something," and we could have done all this other stuff. I think I'm such a fan of a count out and a disqualification. And figuring out ways to make them mean more. This is another thing that the business we've done to ourselves. We've made them things not mean nothing. We've taken tools out of the toolbox that are useful and thrown them away for no reason whatsoever. Win by count out. Who gives a shit?
Well, next up, the Good Brothers would get a win in a tag team action over Austin and Fulton. This matchup went It wasn't as long as the previous match, and probably a bit more entertaining, Shane.
Yeah, I mean, this match was good. Good to see Gallows and Anderson out there doing their thing. Ace Austin, boy, that boy's got some quads on him, don't he? He reminds me of Doug Furnace, if you guys remember him.
Yeah, Furnace and LaFon.
Yeah, exactly. All quads. Good match, good finish. I don't like Anderson's shorts. I don't know why he's out there in them John Cena shorts for. I don't know what's happening there. But,
go ahead, Jay.
But good match, a good match. I think the right team went over. I still see a lot that Austin's going to have a big future.
Speaking of Austin's, where's Austin Theory?
Out practicing new ways to do the RKO, which is another move done by the most over guy in the company on the same fucking show that you're on. But hey.
David Hero, we're going to give you the next tag team match to talk about a little bit, which was the Motor City Machine Guns versus the North. The Motor City Machine Guns getting the win in that matchup. It was a really, really good match, perhaps as good, if not slightly better than their previous outing.
It was really good. And afterwards, the Motor City Machine Guns went on and said that the North to them is the better tag team over Beer Money was. And we know the matches the Machine Guns and Beer Money has had in the past. You know what? Those two teams out there, it was almost like watching the Rock and Roll Express or the Midnight Express against the Brainbusters. Two good tag teams doing tag team wrestling, quick tags. They keep their guy in the corner. They control the ring. It's a lot of stuff you don't get to see very often unless it's an FTR match. But I thought it was a fantastic match and another strong outing for the North, who, if you didn't know, you would have no idea how good they are, but they've been really shining their last few times out now on Impact Wrestling.
Well, that was Impact Wrestling for this week. Gentlemen, summarize your thoughts on the show overall. Shane, this week's outing on XSTV.
Another strong outing. Wrestle House continues. We kind of skipped
over. Oh, yes. Sorry.
That was great. The Eric Young promos were absolutely some of the coolest shit on television by far. Really cool shit. The North, I thought, like they said, the North and the Machine Guns, excellent. Two of the best tag teams in the world going right now. So another strong outing. Impact's doing some really good stuff.
Dave Harrell.
I agree. Wrestling House is my favorite segment on any wrestling show during the week right now.
Forever?
Legit. Ever. It is fantastic. And who would have thought having someone like a Cody Deaner or AC on a show would make me want to keep tuning in. Susie's fantastic. All these characters, you're learning more
Johnny
about
Swinger.
them. Johnny Swinger is the best character in all of wrestling right now.
What?
He's the MVP of that show. That whole I'm straight edge, kayfabe the gimmicks, brother. I legit laughed out loud. Rewound it, listened to it again, and then he burned his hand on the stove or some stupid shit like that. That was the pop of the week for me.
And you know what? I'm so happy for Eric Young because you can tell he believes in himself. Yeah. He is the machine, and he's going to do so many great things for Impact. Right now, Impact has a lot of hungry lions that need to first prove it to themselves that they're better than what they were being used, somewhere else. And guys like Kurt Hawkins, EY, EC3, the Good Brothers, they're going to do some great things in Impact.
Yeah, the Myers promo where he interrupted Willie Mack. That was so well done because he interrupted Willie Mack. He took Jimmy Jacobs off to the side, really disrespected Willie Mack. And it worked so well that I was going, man, you just going to shit on Willie Mack like that? And then Willie Mack comes in at the end and starts whooping his ass. And I'm like, boom, exactly. That was super well done. So that was another thing that we skipped over that was super cool.
Well, thank you for your thoughts on Impact Wrestling from this past Tuesday night. Real quickly, it's broadcasting Saturday night, a special episode of Dynamite. Did either of you miss it last night? Starting with you, Dave.
No, because I was able to focus on one show, which was really nice.
How about you, Shane?
I was in class. I wouldn't have been able to watch that shit anyway.
You did mention that. Well, let's talk about SummerSlam, which is coming to WWE's network this Sunday from the Thunderdome, which we're going to see for the first time tomorrow night. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the videos and clips online, images online. They did some test shows today. It looks pretty fantastic, actually. And innovation has always been WWE's strong suit. They're delivering again. And I'm excited for it, actually. I'm excited to watch SmackDown tomorrow night for the first time since I don't know when. Maybe the Rock
is SmackDown going to be in the Thunderdome? Does it start tomorrow?
Yep, it starts with SmackDown tomorrow.
Yeah, when it comes to production and presentation, that's where WWE has decades of a head start on everybody, and that's where they are emulated by every other sports franchise out there, whether it's not even franchise, but organization, whether it's NBA, NFL, NHL. Everybody copies the WWE in terms of that. So I'm looking forward to seeing just how crazy this will be. And no matter what happens tomorrow, it's going to only get better.
Yeah.
Like Vince never lets off the gas. Vince and Kevin Dunn, I know like they got all their haters. They got a million haters out there. But those guys never let off the gas. When they're going to make this shit as best as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Well, and you also have to believe that Fox is also helping spearhead this as well, because they have amazing technology. They changed the game for the NFL. And when you bring those
they did a lot of shit that the XFL did.
No, right. But I'm saying is you're bringing the two mega powers of TV production together, brother.
Shane, a little bit of trivia about that. You know the mega powers. You remember the city they exploded in?
Your mouth?
The city. The
city.
The city.
No.
The city.
Your mouth, USA.
When what was it? Elizabeth got knocked down. Hogan took her to the back. Savage came back, hit him with the belt. All that other stuff. That was at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
It wasn't Elizabethtown, New Jersey.
It was not.
No. But when I think of SummerSlam, the first match I always think of is always the Mega Powers against the Mega Bucks.
Yeah, you have to. Absolutely.
I think it always goes to your first memory of SummerSlam. So for me, when I hear SummerSlam, I always think about that.
And then Taker? No.
What's that?
Taker, the event that opened the United Center in Chicago.
No, delete that.
No, but you know what, though? But you also can't forget Honky Tonk Man Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, you can.
That was awesome.
But you can't forget it.
That wasn't a match.
Really, actually, that was really good.
It was fantastic before and after, by the way, because they set it up perfectly with the challenge. And Honky Tonk Man's promo after was fantastic as well.
After? I don't remember after.
Might have just been on the Coliseum video release, but
okay. I remember Billy Graham was on commentary. This was just popped up on my timeline, not too. But when Ultimate Warrior, when I did the what was the All In pay-per-view that Dave, you were my getaway in, I did an Ultimate Warrior tribute in that match because after I chokeslam Damian Priest and Brian Cage. So I chokeslammed both those guys. I did an Ultimate Warrior emulation, and I accidentally punched myself in the face. Luckily, I had the mask on, but I was doing all this crazy shit, and it was because I had seen just like a day or two before Ultimate Warrior, and I mean, I seen it again. Of course, I seen it when it happened. But Ultimate Warrior beating Honky Tonk. So in that pay-per-view, that was in my head, and I started doing that. So when people see that celebration, it's all Ultimate Warrior homage.
You know, I hate to go back in the annals. We've only got about 15 minutes left, so
it's better than going back into the annals.
We'll go back to SummerSlam current year in a moment. But thinking back to when the Warrior did beat Honky Tonk Man, was he not the perfect person to beat in 30 seconds, whatever it was?
Yeah.
Never got out of his gear. He looked ridiculous, getting flopped all over the ring in that Elvis suit.
It's the ugliest match you've ever seen. If it's
right,
but it's the bumps all over the place. You just running. Everybody's running rapid. The referee's in the way when the Ultimate Warrior goes to do the splash. It's ugly as shit. But like they did such a great job on waiting to play the Warriors music. Just the anticipation. Make them wait.
Yep.
Make them wait. And you got who does say Billy Graham? He's on commentary. Whoever he's talking with. And they just, man, who's it going to be? Howard Finkel don't even know. How can Howard Finkel not know? He's the announcer. And then when that music hit, boy, that place goes bananas.
It was a mess. It was haywire, as you said, Shane. It was a complete and utter mess, but it was beautiful all at the same time.
Yeah, beautiful chaos.
All right, folks. SummerSlam is this Sunday on the WWE Network, as we framed it before. We're going to go through this one quickly, gentlemen. So we'll go back and forth. We'll start with Shane, as Dave started last time. Actually, no, Shane, you started last time. So, Dave, you get first pick for SummerSlam. And the first match features one of your favorites versus one person I'm sure you probably aren't the biggest fan of, that being King Corbin going up against Matt Riddle.
You know what? It's gonna be an interesting match because they're really pushing Matt Riddle. They want to make him one of the top stars of SmackDown. And Baron Corbin, no matter what he does, he will always get his heat back just because the fans genuinely don't like him. I'm looking for it to be a physical match. I think it's going to be a showcase match for Matt Riddle. I think he's going to go back to the MMA, more of that, of the ground and pound with him. And I think he's going to make King Corbin tap. I think there's no better way to beat Corbin for Matt Riddle than to make him tap. Pinning him, I don't think does any good, but it's more embarrassing for the King to tap out, and I'll go with Matt Riddle.
All right, Dave picks Matt Riddle. Shane, how would you book it?
Yeah, I think Matt Riddle, if you're going to bring him up, if you're going to do anything with him, his first time on a major pay-per-view, which SummerSlam is one of the big four, I feel like, you got to give Matt Riddle the push here. And I know Matt Riddle's got a good MMA background, but don't forget Corbin's a Golden Gloves champion. He's a bad dude himself. He can't get his heat back. He matches up well. That's why I think he matches up so well with Riddle here. But also keep in mind at some point you got to build another super credible threat for Braun Strowman. So is Corbin going? If Corbin is going to be the guy that eventually takes him down, this might be just another, rung on the ladder for Corbin to take out. So it could go either way, but I feel right now that Riddle might be the guy.
Next matchup, hair versus hair, Shane. Sonya Deville versus Mandy Rose.
Ooh. Well, first of all, I want to say I'm so glad that things that happened this week for Sonya and Mandy turned out to be okay. They went through some really treacherous fucking couple of days.
Yeah.
That being said, normally the heel loses those matches. It would be interesting to see, though, what would happen if the heel won this match and the babyface had to cut the hair. But I feel like Sonya Deville will be the one ending up with the shaved head. But that being said, maybe now's the time. Maybe now's the time. Let's go the other way. Let's go with the babyface being shaved and see what happens. So I'm going to switch that shit.
Again, another switcheroo.
I'm going to switch, right? I'm gonna do a real-time switch and say I mean, my gut is that Sonya Deville gets the hair shaved, but for the show, for the sake of the show, for the entertainment purposes of the show, I'm going to say Mandy Rose gets the head shaved.
All right. EPO, entertainment purposes only. That's what this is all about. You know what it is? I mean, if Mandy Rose were to get her head shaved, you got to believe Otis is going to dump her then, right?
If she gets dumped by Otis, that's spectacular.
You know what I mean? Because, it's like, hey, he loves the long blonde hair. I mean, how can you not pick Mandy Rose to shave the head of Sonya Deville? I mean, has there ever been a time when the babyfaces got their head shaved in one of these kind of matches?
I feel like it might have happened, but nothing is spring. I mean, I'm just saying it has to have happened, right? Is it always? You know what? I remember Boogeyman getting his Jimmy Valiant getting his beard shaved because of something he lost, and he had to sit down and take it. Viewers, anybody watching, fact check me on that. But there's something in my mind about that. But I would like to see it again. I mean, if Mandy has to sit there and take it, and she's going to be beautiful no matter what. She's going to. You remember when Serena Deeb got her head shaved, and somehow it's like, I mean, she was pretty before. Like, it wasn't like she wasn't, but then she got her head shaved, and you're like, wow, she's really pretty. It could be one of those scenarios, So we'll see how it goes. But for the storyline, I hope the storyline continues. I don't want it. It has to. Whoever gets their head shaved, this storyline has to go forward. So I feel like going forward, we might see Mandy get her head shaved.
Next up, Dave, you get first picks. It's Apollo Crews, the champion, the United States champion, going up against MVP. Dave, you get first pick. Go ahead, Dave. We want to hear your pick.
How many times have we seen this? It seems like it's every night of the week and twice on Sunday, and it's going to be again on Sunday. Apollo Crews just has to defeat MVP one last time. The Hurt Business is not allowed at ringside, which probably means Cedric Alexander is going to get involved, and then he's going to cost the match. But Apollo Crews needs to graduate from MVP in the Hurt Business and go on to something else. So I'm hoping for Apollo Crews to get the victory and just keep going.
How about you, Shane?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Apollo Crews, because, since he's been champion, he really hasn't got over this first milestone. His run hasn't really gotten past MVP, and I'd like to see him get a good run with that. I think he's a marketable talent. He's got all the potential in the world. He's a U.S. champion, but I'd like to see it go a little further. I like MVP. MVP's doing great in his, this last little run as far as his in-ring performance. I don't think MVP needs to be a U.S. champion. I think Apollo Crews does. So I'm going to go with Apollo Crews here.
Fair enough. Next matchup is a tag team match that's been building very strongly for quite a while, actually. And that will be for the Raw Tag Team Championship. The Street Profits will go up against Andrade and Angel Garza. Shane, you get the first pick in this match.
You know what? I think it's time for a changing of the guard. I love the Street Profits. If they continue their championship run, it won't bother me. It won't hurt my feelings whatsoever. But, man, it's time for Andrade and Garza to not time, but I just feel like a changing of the guard might freshen up that tag team division right now. You got all the crazy shenanigans with Zelina Vega poisoning the Red Cup. She's devious. We know that. So it could go either way, of course, but it might be time for Garza and Andrade to get the straps.
There could be a lot of shenanigans or extracurricular activities, as you said, Shane, in this matchup. David Hero, how would you make that play a factor, and who would win this match if you were booking it for the tag team championships?
We've already talked about Zelina Vega, but let's not forget about Bianca Belair. She's been getting involved quite a bit as well lately, too. But
Can I ask you a question about Bianca Belair?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you just grab that braid and toss her around with it? By it.
Well, maybe he does. I don't know.
No. In the match, the wrestling match.
Oh.
I think you froze Shane. Go ahead, David.
Shane Helms did not say that.
I think Garza has been fantastic. Who would have thought Andrade would be the weak link of this tag team? But I think Garza and Andrade are going to leave with some tag team gold. I think Zelina Vega needs to get her team back on track. Ever since Paul Heyman has left Monday Night Raw, it's almost like Zelina and company have taken the back seat in a 3-seat van lately. Like, they're all the way in the back seat. They're not being used nearly as much as they were. But there's something there, especially when you throw in Bianca Belair in the mix. I like Garza and Andrade to be the new tag team champions.
I see Garza and Andrade as a Midnight Express, but more of the Dennis Connery version. Because Andrade is a little bit more intense, a little bit more aggressive. Garza's a little bit more flashy. He's a little bit more of the beautiful Bobby. And that's when you kind of check all of the boxes. They're not exactly alike. They're different enough that they complement each other and they check all the boxes. This could be a really great tag team as long as we don't split them up too fast and we kind of mold them and make sure that they keep complementing each other in those areas.
I mean, there's been 3 different incarnations of the Midnight Express. There was Condrey and Randy Rhodes, then there was Condrey and Eaton, and then there was Eaton and Sweet Stan Lane.
Mm-hmm.
That would be beautiful, Bobby Eaton and Sweet Stan Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course it was.
All right, next it's a street fight, folks. Seth Rollins goes up against Dominic Mysterio, and it feels like, Dave, you get the first pick in this street fight.
Well, I mean, I don't know what else they can do to Dominic that they already haven't done. Now it's going to be in a street fight. So the short answer is Seth Rollins. I can't see Dominic Mysterio defeating Seth Rollins in a street fight unless Aleister Black comes out to help, because if it is a no DQ and Aleister Black hasn't been seen in weeks. But not that a loss to Dominic hurts Seth Rollins, But if we need somebody to get ready for Randy Orton or Drew McIntyre, who else have we seen on this show that is ready to go up into the title picture? So you got to believe Seth Rollins gets the victory and teaches the kid a lesson.
All right. How about you, Shay?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I say Seth Rollins. I think Dominic gets some good moments. I think he gets some super moments where, he gets even more revenge on Seth Rollins, which is due. Seth Rollins does deserve it. All of them do. Buddy Murphy too. Buddy Murphy deserves a little bit more. So I think you give Dominic his moments, but I think at the end you got to keep going with the Messiah. I don't think you just give him this loss on this platform.
But Buddy Murphy's been fantastic as the sidekick for Seth Rollins.
He's a good buddy. It's right there.
He is.
So
my buddy.
Yes.
Wherever I go, he goes, my buddy. My buddy Murphy.
My buddy killed me. Wasn't that the Chucky version? Because my buddy came out right before Chucky, didn't it?
I have no idea.
There was a version of it where the lyrics were changed to say it ended with "My buddy killed me" because of Chucky. And Maggie was a real bitch. She deserved to die. All right. So next matchups we want to talk about. Asuka gets 2 chances at 2 championships, or gets 1 chance at 2 championships. That being Sasha Banks Raw Women's Championship and Bayley SmackDown Women's Championship. I love how they got here. This fits everything perfectly. Asuka, will she walk out with either title at SummerSlam on Sunday, Dave?
I would love to see her leave with both. I would love to see Sasha costing Bayley her title, then Bayley giving the receipt to Sasha costing her hers. I think eventually they're just going to have to merge the 2 titles together and give it to Asuka anyhow, because I think the real money going forward is going to be Asuka against Shayna Baszler. So I'm looking to see Asuka grab both titles.
I'm 100% in agreement. Asuka wins. Asuka 2 belts is what I want to see here.
And that would be great for Bayley and Sasha to play off of immediately following. It continues the story very, very well.
And I better see some mist.
Green or red or blue?
As long as it's not yellow.
Shane, next matchup is for the Universal Championship. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, will go up against Braun Strowman, and that is for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. How would you book it?
Well, the Fiend has been the champion before, and the problem then was, what do you do with the championship once the Fiend has it? So we've been down that road. We've faced that problem, and they didn't know what to do. I can assure you that. And they just took it off and gave it to Bill Goldberg, which is one of the dumbest fucking decisions that was made while I was there. Did I say that? But
Shane Helms did say that.
Yeah, David Hero
exactly.
said it. David Hero said it. David Hero is an asshole, I can assure you. So I'm saying you got to keep it on Braun. I don't see really no reason to take it off him right now. Because like I said, once the Fiend gets it, well, then he's going to have to lose it, on somebody else. This was really tough. We might have another non-finish here. Keep in mind the last big match they had, the Fiend drowned Braun Strowman. We all thought he was dead. I don't know how he came back from that. It wasn't really explained. He did get drowned in a fucking swamp. Now he's back. So you would think that the Fiend was up. So now Braun, is going to get the win. So it's either going to be a non-finish or a Braun. I don't see the Fiend winning.
David Hero, what say you?
I think the big X factor is going to be Alexa Bliss. I mean, I've always said the downfall of every successful man has been a woman. And right now, Alexa Bliss is pissed because Braun Strowman didn't look out for her and or her best interest. I kind of think Alexa Bliss is going to be the reason Braun Strowman loses and the Fiend regains the Universal Championship.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. And Dave might be absolutely right there.
Well, a viewer on Facebook named Jose Rosado agrees, says Alexa Bliss gets involved in the match somehow there. And it's good to have those kinds of opportunities on the pay-per-view. Next and final matchup, Randy Orton tries after Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship. Whew. Randy Orton's been on a tremendous run this year. Drew McIntyre has been the victim of COVID-19. David Hero, how would you book this matchup at SummerSlam between these two this Sunday on pay-per-view?
I mean, Randy Orton has taken out Edge. He's taken out Christian. He's taken out Big Show. He's taken out Ric Flair. He almost took out Shawn Michaels. You don't do all of that to now have Drew McIntyre beat him. And I think they're building, if they're going to build Randy Orton the way they're doing it, you got to put the title on him. Drew McIntyre is fantastic. I think if there's any other year, he would have been making a lot of money. I always said if Drew McIntyre would have been around in the Hogan era, he would have been one of Hogan's biggest opponents because he's so big, strong, and he knows what he's doing. But at the end of the day, I know an apex predator when I see one, and I'm going to go with Randy Orton. He's going to give the RKO, defeat Drew McIntyre, and then just run the gamut for the rest of the year until Edge can come back at the Royal Rumble.
Oh, all right. Shane.
Yeah, there's not going to be much more I can add to that. Dave covered all the bases. I think Randy Orton, the build for Randy here has been one of the most significant of his entire career. And that's been a really fucking impressive career. And so even in this, I know this COVID era sucks, but one thing that hasn't sucked is Randy's storyline this entire run. So it's been incredible. I don't think you do, like Dave said, I don't think you do all of that and then you throw it away. Not that it'll be thrown away, but I don't think you do all of that and then end it with at SummerSlam here. I see Randy being the champion, and now as once things start to clear up, which is the goal. Remember, the goal is that we plan for this shit to open back up. Randy is champion. You got Roman coming back. You got Brock might be coming back. You got Edge coming back. Hell, at this point, fucking Flair might come back and get one more shot at the strap. I don't know. But Cena, who knows? But I think there are more opportunities with those names that I mentioned coming back against Randy Orton. Don't count Drew out. Don't count Drew out to get it back at some point. But Randy has been the story. Randy has been the story of Raw for months. Raw is Randy Orton right now.
I still want to see this version of Randy Orton. I don't know the wrong word I'm looking here, but he's the Legend Killer Part 2. He's vicious. He's evil against Brock Lesnar. I think those two, that would draw a ton of money because you got the Beast and Brock Lesnar against the Legend Killer Randy Orton, and not just have it where Brock knocks him out with an elbow to the head. Let them go at it and let the fans decide who they want more.
See, I'll throw this out to you. Randy Orton's a champion, right? Now on Raw Underground, Brock Lesnar shows up. Starts running through Raw Underground. And then makes his way to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. It writes itself.
Does Raw
it usually does.
Does Raw Underground continue in the Thunderdome? I know it wouldn't be in the Thunderdome, but clearly they were trying to get a different look to their content. And
I don't know if they're going to just go away with it, do away with it. In the Amway Center, I imagine they'll have even a bigger area for them to play in to create a better atmosphere or whatever for Underground. But you want it to be dirty if you wanted to keep it like that, and can we just admit that they just jacked Lucha Underground like 100%? Has anybody mentioned that? Like, it just completely jacked that fucking Lucha Underground idea?
No, because WWE never steals from anyone else.
It's just complete. Like, that was the whole Lucha Underground thing. It was in this like dirty warehouse type environment.
Yep.
That there happened to be a wrestling ring in, and people are jumping off fucking rafters and all kinds of shit. It was dirty and grimy and all that. Like, just completely hacked it. But
Cameron Grammy? Gentlemen, that is SummerSlam this Sunday on pay-per-view and on the WWE Network. It's a big weekend of wrestling action. In fact, the next several days of wrestling are going to be tremendous. SmackDown on Fox tomorrow night. It is the launch, our first look at Thunderdome, the new fan experience and the new broadcast experience from WWE. Saturday evening, after the NBA Finals or playoffs, whichever it may be, TNT will present Dynamite on a special night and a special time. After that, or maybe slightly overlapping that, NXT has Takeover, the 30th installment of Takeover, not from the Thunderdome, Saturday night on the WWE Network, and then Sunday it is what has typically been the second or third biggest pay-per-view of the year, that being SummerSlam from WWE. It will be in the Thunderdome. Fans will be virtually there in attendance. The show will be that much better immediately as a result of that. It will look big, it will feel big, it will play big, but what will happen coming out of it? Will enough happen in that ring that we care enough to tune in on Monday night? That's what WWE is focused on, and let's see if they can deliver. Boys, what a show it's been. The Super Show continues to be super. We appreciate those of you joining us here on Fight TV across our social media channels as well, and on the podcast version. Remember, you can take this show with you on the go, and if you missed us on Thursday, you can always catch the replay Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on Fight TV. So you've got AEW Dynamite, a replay of PrimeTime, and NXT Takeover 30. We know which one you'll pick. Shane, Dave, anything in closing?
That sounds like you did a good job wrapping it up.
Yeah, I got to go check on those squirrels.
Don't get squirrely now. For that one, and Shane Hurricane Helms, the Super Show superstar, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in and joining us here live on Fight TV. We'll see you again next Thursday night. Have a good night, everyone.